Hi everybody, welcome to the channel, and today a unboxing of the first in a series of two games. This is Test of Fire Bull Run 1861 by Martin Wallace. The other game, Clash of Wills Shiloh 1862, I'll also be showing. This game I bought second hand, so it is unpunched. And in fact, I played my first game of this on Friday. We had great fun with it. It's a very light introductory war game, but I think there's stuff in there that will appeal to the experienced gamer as well. Certainly I felt there was some good tactical decisions to be made, some friction in the game, a few things that maybe irked me a little bit, but nothing sufficiently to put me off wanting to play the game again. As you can see, the artwork is fabulous. This is the famous American Civil War artist Dan Trioni. Apologies, or Don Trioni. Apologies if I've said that incorrectly. But I've got books with some of his artwork in. Beautiful. This is a beautiful picture. And it comes in a small little box. As you can see, they're quite deep. Some of the artwork is on the back. So the game is designed for 10 plus, 2 players, about 45 minutes to an hour. Our first game Friday took about an hour and a half, but we did deliberate and think about things a little bit, as we do as gamers. You get a board, 2 decks of command action cards which drive the game, some order cards which are what you will allocate your dice to determine the orders you can give troops on the table, dice, counter sheets, and the rules. So let's show you what's in the box. I've probably just sent it all flying now, turning the box upside down. So you get nice rule book. This game certainly is a lot more basic than the second game in the series. Rules run to, realistically, probably about 10 pages. In fact, it's less than that, 8 pages, because you've got some optional rules. This is a bit of the history, which is nice, and a bit about the cards as well and what they mean. And then there's a play bit at the top there to help with the turns. The rules themselves are full colour. First page setting up the game, playing the game, and then the main mechanics with lots of nice illustrated examples in there as well. So it's very, very straightforward to play and get into the game. The map is beautiful. It's a lovely board. It's not very big, so it's a small footprint game. But I hope you would agree that if I just zoom this out a little bit so you can see it a bit more. Here we go. Just a little smidgen more. That is the battlefield you're playing over. Having played a few Altaroffreedom games of Bull Run scenario, this particularly appealed to me. So you've got some of the key elements of the game on the board. Manassas Station here, and Centerville at the top, just at the top of the screen. These are the key victory point areas, along with Henry House Hill, this area here near Lewis Ford, and this area here near Bulls Ford. So these are all key objective areas for the Union, who've got to basically attack across the ford, across Bull Run. They can use a ford to help them with that, or they're going to have to come across the main area where the bridge is. You can see here they can cross areas, but with limited numbers of units. So if the Confederates defend these outer areas strongly, it's going to be very hard for the Union to attack in there and get in. It's zone to zone movement, adjacent zone to zone movement. The forests here again slow down units that can cross into different areas. The roads, as you can see, speed up with the numbers of units there. You've got some numbers like this which correspond to, if the area you're moving into is empty, you can bring 2 units in. If there's an enemy unit, you can only bring 1 in. So again, key defensive areas for the Confederacy. Other than that, and the initial setup points, that is the board itself. The counters, as you can see on here, are these large, reasonably decent counters in terms of strong. So you've got your main strength side and then your disordered side there, and likewise you can see on the map they do take up quite a bit of space, and that's my only kind of bugbear really, that when you've got multiple units on there, they start to cover up key elements of scenery. So for example here, you can't always tell there are hills or key areas that you end up trying to pick them up and then they fall over, and that can be a bit of a pain. I have considered maybe Kriegspiel blocks would be very, very nice on these games, something I'm giving some thought to. So you do have a card in the game, the Union do, where they can find a ford, and it allows them to place down a ford counter. This one here, as you see, it has a +1, so that means, for example, if we placed it here in this quadrant, it means we could actually bring 2 units across at a time, the one plus the further one. That's really helpful when you're planning your attacks as the Union player, but of course you're relying on that card coming out to give you that function to do that. Artillery is reasonably sort of effective but ineffective in the game. It doesn't dominate it by any means. You've got one kind of piece on the board, and cards allow that to fire. You can move it and you can activate it through combat, or through firing, or through the leader if the leader is attached. And then you have the main cards which drive the game. So you will get access to these cards at different points. So you can see their cavalry again is dealt with within the card rather than a playing piece. But various cards do different things at different stages of the game. And to win the game, you either need to capture Centerville or Manassas Station, depending which side you're on, or you need to have one of these route cards, and as you can see there, you need to be able to play that, roll 2 dice and get equal or less than the number of units that you've eliminated, which is what happened in our game eventually on Friday, when the Union basically managed to punch a hole across this area here, Sudley Ford. They came in a flanking movement through the forest into Buck Hill area. As we assaulted over Stonebridge, we sort of took this area and started to push the Confederates back. There was a bit of effective artillery fire keeping these units at bay here. The Confederates gradually got pushed back, but I had a couple of route cards and I was able to get one of my rolls below the 6 that I needed for the numbers of units that I'd eliminated. So at the beginning of your turn, you will have one of these. You'll roll a certain number of dice, as you can see. If you're Union, you're rolling 4, Confederate, we're rolling 3, and these will determine what activations you have in that turn, and obviously the cards can boost those accordingly. And that's pretty much the fundamentals of the game and how it works. But I hope that's given you a bit of an insight into this series. As I say, great game for the introduction to wargaming, board gaming, but also there's some strategy there for the more experienced gamer as well. But I hope you've enjoyed the video and look forward to seeing you again soon.